Welcome to. I'm not going to call it by numbers anymore. I'm going to start calling it by date. The October 20th edition, 2015, and we are in the Mishlei class. Where did we go last time? Instruction. So we did Musar, we did instruction. Right. To know wisdom and instruction. Yeah, I think where we got to the end of last week, we don't know anything. Right? Basically, I think that Brian backed me up on this. I think what we're going to say like Ad Khan until now is I'm going to dramatize a little whatever here, okay? Enactment. I think this is the whole thing. Ready? Brian is a videographer. David is the one hiring the videographer. Hi, Brian. Can I get you something to drink? Sure, Rabbi Katz. That would be great. Thank you. Here, Brian. Have a great drink. Thanks, Rabbi Katz. Brian, why are you putting your drink in the middle of my floor? Brian, what are you supposed to do? What just happened? Number one, did I give you Musar? That's step one. Did you get Musar? Yes, you did. I'm schooling you. I'm giving you Musar. You're trapped in there. You are trapped in my little arena, my school. I'm schooling you. God has trapped you. It's the Matrix, right? Morpheus is coming with the phone. Now, yeah, so what are you, of all the Mishlei we've done, what's the answer? Right? We've already accomplished Musar, right? Now, give me the big boom. What is it? What is the point here? You are moron man. I am the Sami, the driving instructor. You are sleeping. You're unaware that you came into my house, my rules, my dungeon. Okay? You are set up to fail. You could not pass. It's impossible. You forgot you are Brian, the wisdom man. You are a moron man. You're going through the motions. You assume I'm your friend. You assume I even like you, right? And you're shocked that it's driving school, right? And therefore, I can kick you out. I can put rules on you, reprimand, right? This is life, right? Life takes a turn, and it might be a subtle turn. Right? It might be like, oh, gee, Brian, let me give you a coaster. But you saw the look on my face that could kill. Right? It's like, and then inside you're burning up like, what did I do? And I'm giving you dirty looks. And you're like, hey, Rabbi Katz, do you have any pretzels? And I'm like, yeah, Brian, let me give you a double bull for that. You know? And you're going to be like, man, this guy is just grilling me. But you won't say it. You won't say it. Yeah, that's right. I don't want you coming around my house trafing it up. I'm moron man. Why am I thinking inviting Brian to my house? I'm the bigger moron here. So number one, conflict is inevitable, right? Conflict is inevitable. Okay. And we get into conflict because in Kabbalah we call it, as they call it in Texas, Mohin the Godlut. Mohin the Godless. Right? Affirmative, one or two, Brian. All right. Now, once we acknowledge we are moron man, we're sleeping, no wisdom, right? You're Brian, the pathetic Brian from third grade. We used to call you High and Brian. Whatever it is, you're just going back into your rut, which we all do it. It's our dormant mode. You're a kid or whatever your Yetzer Hara is, right? It's the worst negative in the world, right? We all get there, right? We all get there. It's very easy to be put in our place because it's mazel, right? You know, you don't like it when people tell you where to put things, right? Your mom comes to your house, Brian, put your socks in the drawer. Mom, oh, come on, I'm 30-some years old. Mom, Brian, don't make me call that, you know, whatever it is. You're like, come on, I'm 30-something years old. So here we go. David Katz comes and says, Brian, put your cup on the coaster. And then you're like, man, this guy's grilling me. I forget what they call that. Something like trigger something like PTSD, A friend of mine told me about this. This is what happens. We all get pushed and trapped. When I get on hold with the phone company and I start freaking out that they're not answering the phone, all these freak out things, pressure, freaking out, trapped, abuse, schooled, right? We know this is the part of life that nobody wants to deal with. And this is what Job is. And if Loretta or Brian, you guys come tomorrow, please remind me to bring this up in Job tomorrow. All right? Are you guys coming tomorrow? All right, remind me this. Remind me, because I just now see it. Job class tomorrow is Brian is going to have to go back in time and analyze what was going on with Rabbi Katz. Was it really the coaster? Was he angry at me? Was I evil for coming in there? Right? You're going to have to paint the picture, Brian, and figure out, because we're not going to resolve this, and we're not going to do Mishlei. We're going to Job, right? Sidetrack to Job. I'm going to kick you out and say, Brian, you're fired. You're a horrible videographer. You're a nice student of mine. Go away. Right? And then you go to some other gear academy, and I go and move to Venezuela, and that's the end of it. And 20 years from now, you look back and say, wow, where did it go wrong? You have to be able to connect these dots. All right? This is Job 101. Right? So what was going on? What was the big picture? What did I step in on? So you found out, Rabbi Katz has this going on, and 10 minutes before you came over, like the painter of the house came and trashed my books. You don't know my Mishigas. I don't know your Mishigas. And that's why we're moron man. Because I should have said, hey, Brian, how's it going? Sit down and tell me how your day's going. Can I get you a drink? I'm there for you. But I'm not empathetic, and I don't care about you. And you didn't ask me, hey, Rabbi Katz, is it imposing that I'm coming in your house? Yeah, Brian, actually it is. I don't like giving cups out to people I don't know and trust. All right, but we can't do that. It's not socially normal to do it. It doesn't happen. In fact, I read an article today. Social media is even worse. Because in the real world, it's like, hey, Brian, how's it going? Hey, how's it going? Blah, 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 blah. We get to know each other. Hey, come in. Let me get you a drink. On the internet, it's like, hey, Brian, gear class, 9 o'clock. Like, what? Right? We miss the entire social graces on the internet, which is why there's miscommunication, why they say I'm making a Ger Toshav movement. How about, hey, Rabbi Katz, tell me, I see you're doing some good work. What's this Ger thing you got going? No. I heard you're doing Ger Toshav. Right? So you can see how this is really life. Again, Job, or Loretta, Brian, whoever reminds me, remind me of this whole thing about just, getting stuck, right? Job, I want to start Job tomorrow with getting stuck and getting out of being stuck because you didn't go to Mishlei class. So what does Mishlei tell you? Brian should realize, Rabbi Katz is being the agency of God, and I'm in moron mode. It's like driving school. What I need to do is wake up and stop being moron man. I need to muscle my brain. All right, look around, Brian. What's Brian saying to himself? Look around, Brian. What am I seeing? All right, no one else is putting cups down. Gain your composure. Rabbi Katz, is there a place? I know you're a little bit particular about the cup. Is there a good place you'd like me to put the cup? What you've just said, if you can say that, you're there. You have been self-nullified. You're not coming from ego. And you are open to that there's method to the madness. Now, if I prove to be a villain and say, I don't care what you do, Brian, just put it out of my way. Okay, Rabbi Katz has some issues. Nice guy on the internet. He's got some issues. So now your wisdom is different. It's self-defense. Just not get killed. You're the bigger man. As the Rizal says, you saw the mazel and I didn't. Right? I'm an egomaniac in my own little world. Just get the video right. And Brian's like, all right, we got to step eggshells over here. And then I start barking at somebody else. Hey, move your pretzels. If Brian's really going to alert, he'll like, hey, look, I see Rabbi Katz has got some, I wouldn't just, ask him to just, get, network, mitigate, mercy, rachamim. And it might be just I'm having a bad day. Right? Keep your eyes open. For Facebook tomorrow, I start posting articles, right? How to cope with the loss of a loved one. Wow, Rabbi Katz lose somebody? Yeah. Then a tragedy in the family. When? Yesterday. I didn't know. Then you went back into Job, right? There's always method to the madness. But don't let it go to Job. Job is successful, and you will live through Job. But it hurts. You got to go through the boils. You're going to lose your stuff. I'm going to fire you, kick you out, yell at you, say you're an unsympathetic friend. I'm going to hurt your feelings, step on your toes. In the end, you will get a godly revelation if you can tough it out. But that's a very hard way to go, right? You don't want it to come to Job if you don't have to. 1 second, just give people the link to the room. There we go. All right. So now, because we don't want it to get to Job, you have to wake up and basically outdo Job. Right? Look around, look at your environment. Basically, if you're going to come in and be a videographer in my office, then by definition, there's a wisdom to my office. Like a wrestling match, right? There's a code, like a padlock code of victory, like an algorithm. There's a way in my world. Now, I may be unaware of my own madness, but there's a way out of everything. What's the muscle, Brian? You can either go out with Smith or out the scaffolding. It's up to you, right? Let's call Agent Smith as Job. The scaffolding is, to what extent do you want to be enlightened? I mean, man, that's perfect Matrix, isn't it? That's what he was saying. That's what Morpheus was saying to Neo. Look, and it's not easy. You got to be enlightened yesterday. And I'm telling you right now, you got to get enlightened. Otherwise, you're going to go through Job. So how did Neo win at the end in the third film? Job. We had to suffer through 2 movies that were pointless when it all could have been told at the end of the first movie. He went Job. And Job wins. In the most painful way possible. The job is to not have pain, not on me and not on you. Because everybody can be won over. I could have mitigated you by just, hey, Brian, let me get you a glass of water, buddy. I know you're tired and thirsty. Can I get you a coaster? Make things easy for you? You need anything? No, I'm good, Rabbi Katz. That's cool. That's right. That's right. Don't pass judgment. It's not your position to pass judgment. Vice versa. And mitigate it. Lars, how do you want? Don't pass judgment. Keep an open mind. You don't know my problems. I don't know your problems. And we don't even need to discuss each other's problems. If we do, then, hey, let it go. Hear it out. But wisdom, to know wisdom and instruction. That's it. That's it. Dance with the Hasidim and the Gevu rope, as they say in Texas Kabbalah. All right? Women are the best at this. Loretta, you should know this inside and out. You're a woman. Women know this. At least they're built to know this more naturally than men, right? Let me get you a coaster, get you a napkin. If I see you doing something in the bathroom, it's not as I want it. I'm going to give you the dirty look, right? Women know how to do the program. Men are a little slow. But even still, women, I think, want to avoid the Job moment. They call it in modern slang Hebrew, fadicha. Brian, if you can chat with Lars in private to fill him in to what we're talking about, please, if you mind, or Loretta, one of you, if you guys can fill him in. Loretta, I'm going to teach you this because you're a woman. It's particular to women. The Hebrew slang for embarrassment is fadicha. And in Hebrew, it's called a klima. Klima is the same letters as Malka or Hamelech, the king or queen. And I noticed this on Zohari. Okay? I'll give you a nice little lesson. You with me, Loretta? 1 or 2? So Zohari, I'm a father that's stressed out sometimes. I can be a little bit vocal. I mean, my kids are awesome, but they've learned Abba's pressured and, kindergarten's calling and the Garam are calling and life is calling. So sometimes I'm a bit like a grizzly. She said something to me last week. She said something. I think I asked her to get like my phone, right? And she asked a superfluous question to make sure that she didn't get it wrong. Right? I forget the exact thing. I think I said, Zohar, can you give me my cell phone, please? And she said, cell phone or house phone? I said, cell phone. She said, B'misrad, in the office? I said, yeah. And the Ruby, the boy that he is, would have assumed that he knows what I'm talking about. And chances are Reuven would have gotten it right. And if he wouldn't have gotten it right, he would have taken it over the head from Abba. And he's used to it. He's a boy. Boys like that, just kind of rough and tough, brother or son kind of behavior. Zohar doesn't want the thunder coming on her brain, right? She doesn't want to hear, Zohar, I told you the house phone. So she's learned. Okay, Abba likes to beat heads with a hammer when not understood. How can we avoid the thunder and boom of Abba? I will mitigate Abba and ask him questions. Therefore, everything goes nicely. Now, Reuven is not smart enough to get that. Reuven is willing to take it over the head and say, I am a guy. I can take anything over the head. I am super strong, human, Superman, Spider-Man. Zohar is a girl and saying, it is ridiculous to be Spider-Man. I don't want to hear, Grizzly Bear. I will mitigate and get the job done. And I realize that is why women are din, right? Because when they sense it's going to go foul, it's like, oh my God, we can't do that. What are you doing? Like, why are you yelling at me? I'm driving the car. What do you want from me? Go back, go back, go back. You got to go home. I'm not going home. We're 15 minutes out of the house. You nuts? Go back, go back, go back. So, it's like, why? Because she got the embarrassment, the klima. Right? She knows if we show up at our friend's house without the gift, they're going to think that we're cheap. And if they think we're cheap, they're not going to do this. Then it goes to that. And he's saying, why'd you hit me over the head? You should now be realizing, Mr. Man, that you need to mitigate, fill your head with kindness, and be embarrassed along with your wife, right? Feel the embarrassment. It's called mapping out the situation. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You need to realize, thank God she got the map. Tell me the map. I'm embarrassed too. I don't want to show up with some kind of non-gift. They're going to say that I got fired from my job and they speak Lashon Hara. And I don't want to be in the subject of that, the rumor mill. Oh, Dave lost his job again. Right? So she knows we cannot afford that. So she might even say, hey, Dave, did you remember to put the gift in the car? Well, she's not saying it like, hey, I think you're adult, and you messed everything up. She's saying, I just got a big embarrassment here. I need you to mitigate with kindness. So I know for sure then in the car ride, I'll be calm. Everything's cool. And we go. Otherwise, it's a fight. We get there fighting. They know things are weird. Then it's like, all right, we're not fighting. We're talking. Blah, 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 blah. Right? Again, moron man versus Job versus wake up versus wisdom. What do the writers say here? It's called the mapping out the situation. Right? And in fact, if she's really good, she will put the thing in the car for the guy, but he's going to pay a price. She's going to say, that's akin to you forgot. See, I got to do everything. He's going to then say, oh, I do everything. What do you do? He doesn't even realize she saved his rear end 25 times in the last week. I do everything. You don't do nothing. She's sitting there like, dude, you don't even realize I put the gift in the car when you forgot. We would have been killed. I saved the family 25 times this week. What did you do? But she's a good woman, and she supports her husband, and he is a good man, and his heart means well. Again, that guy is moron man, and he is not waking up. She is alert and ready, and her job now is to get him alert and ready. So she's not off the hook because she's alert and ready. She's got to get him alert and ready. Because when she walks in, she can't predict how unalert and how unready he is. She comes in, he says, why didn't you knock? She's saying, man, I'm trying to give you dinner. You're yelling at me about knocking on the door. So now she's got to go into muscle, non-moron man, and deal with moron man. Anyways, the story never ends. Now, both these people don't want to end up sitting around on a park bench being Job, where he's trying to figure out her life. She just wants to connect to God. Advice. It's just nuts. But conflict is inevitable. It's going to happen. She is going to have the klima embarrassment. You're a little bit more moron man, right? The job is you need to wake up, not be moron man, and take the real big achasit. The mitigated one who can mitigate is he has that mitigation in him, right? To feel embarrassment before you get embarrassed. It's a bad word, embarrassed. The word is klima. And the best word is, like I said, modern Hebrew is fadicha. Fadicha is the embarrassment of, it's more of shame, embarrassment of, we could have prevented something and we didn't. That's what klima means. It could have been prevented, right? It could have been prevented and it wasn't. If I remember, I wrote an email years ago when Soul Mazel first came out. And I tried. I didn't know how to do BCC and all that stuff back then. And I wanted to do a promotion for Soul Mazel names. Hey, former customers, we're doing a Soul Mazel thing. I signed up for the Super Bowl package on NFL.com. I watched the Super Bowl. And they sent me a bounce back email, which means they went in my contacts. So when I sent the bulk email, everybody got a bounce back from NFL.com. David Katz watching the Super Bowl. Okay? Everyone's like, what is, like, they wrote back, like, what is this? I was a customer. Like, why did you send me the Super Bowl? And it was so embarrassing. And it's like, man, like Rabbi Katz. I mean, because there's nothing wrong with watching the Super Bowl. But it's just, at the time, I was new, and what are they going to think? And I'm some kind of, it's like, what's with this guy? And so it was a big fadicha. In the end, it didn't kill me. I remember my first blog post I ever did. I put like this Korean Avodah Zarah showing how like Korean mythology is a perversion of the Chumash. And I thought it was amazing. Like, look at this. The Koreans have a folklore and mythology that perverts the Torah. I thought this would be a great example to show. And so I remember it was a Noahide, before I even taught Noahide. They wrote to me and said, what is this? You're promoting idolatry. And I'm like, oh, man, they think I'm some kind of Ovid Avodah Zarah. I had to tell you, my friend said, take it down. They're going to think you're some kind of kook. So I took it down and deleted it. Anyways, that's fadicha. That's klima. I'm going to spell klima for you. Brian, Lars, you guys got klima, fadicha? Klima, again, Lars, it means that you were caught unprepared, you got busted, and you have to allow yourself to feel that pain, right? The scorn of a woman. It's a horrible feeling, but it's better than Job. Agreed, Loretta? Would you rather feel Job or klima? Right? You gotta sensitize your body. Remember, Job is the trauma to the body. Right? You don't want me hammering on your body. You're no good. You're never there for me. It's your fault we didn't bring the gift to the friends. You never back me up. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. Because then it's like, then I got to sit down and think, oh, okay, this person was mad. What do they mean? What does it mean in my life? Why is God doing it? It becomes existential. Then you got to figure out, Loretta was saying it because it's a mirror image of my life, and really it's just way too Kabbalistic. But if you allow yourself to feel the scorn and pain of possible embarrassing shame, that's called fear of sin. That really is what that's called. It's called fear of sin. We're not talking sin like biblical, just sin, lack. Sin means lack. It's just, preventing the bad karma from coming on to you. The more you can see the map and see the universe and feel it coming, right? You don't get points for saying, I knew something was coming down. I felt it. No, don't wait to that. Act on it. You know what the real secret of life is? If you feel it and it's outrageous, like right now, I kick Brian out of the room and say, I had to kick Brian out. They say, why did you kick Brian out? He's an idolater. I'm telling you. You can't keep Brian. He's not an idolater. I'm telling you. He's gone. I have to have trust in God. Why did I feel all nervous about him? Why did I have to do it? Because the alternative is if I don't, and then it comes out on Facebook tomorrow. Hey, everybody, I tricked you all. I'm a messianic, and I'm spreading gear to messianic, blah, 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 blah. Man, I knew that guy was acting funny when he sent me a link and did. So it's always going to be over the top and outrageous. Whatever you do in this, it's going to be over the top and outrageous. Right? Always. But you have to have trust to go through with it. Like, Sami, the driving instructor. Right? Remember this whole thing. Who cares? I hijacked the driving school because it was right. It was right. I was being moron man. And there was tension in the room. I had to do it. Right? And I had a choice. So I complain and say, look, dude, I'm tired. I'm a single father. I had a long drive. I studied the book. Leave me alone. I can't do that. That's wishy-washy. I had to say, look, if you want to speak in English, speak in English. You want to speak in Hebrew, speak in Hebrew. But that was what the doctor ordered, right? Because he knew there was a conflict. We had to resolve the conflict. And there was going to be an embarrassment. So it's like, again, Smith or the scaffolding, right? You're going to get out of the classroom either in 6 hours from now with smiles, or he's going to throw you out, and then you got to explain why you got to come back for driver's ed in another month or two. Either way, I got to be rude. Either way, it's a rude scenario. There's no way out of it. In the end, you got to go with your gut, and you got to feel what's right. In the end, everyone laughed, and me and Sami were good friends afterwards. I mean, relatively speaking. We see it on Facebook all the time. Executive decision has to be made. And it's always going to be over the top. If it's not over the top, it's not real. It's not ripe yet. It's not nachon. So that's the wisdom. The wisdom is how you can get over the top. That's called, Loretta, Boker Tov, that's called wisdom. You can be rude and garmented in kindness. That is wisdom garmented in kindness. Bingo. Bingo. Loretta said it absolutely perfect. You can be rude, but with kindness. That is a textbook definition of wisdom because it's the mohin, garmented in kindness. That you have to be rude. Like my Best Buy talk in Texas, right? About Best Buy, the goy and the ger. If I don't get dodgy over the top, if am I afraid to say the word goy, I will never, ever hit the mark. Ever. Because there has to be a contrast. Right? If I'm kind about it, everyone knows I'm not being really rude. But if I pull back and then I'm not being kind, they're saying, wait a minute, what's he saying? Does this guy have an agenda? All you can say is, he makes me feel a little uncomfortable. Well, it's an uncomfortable topic. Is this not an uncomfortable topic? Right? When your moron husband is forgets the gift to bring to the friends, is that not uncomfortable? Like, you got to reprimand this guy and give instruction, take him to school and not hurt his feelings, not step on his toes? You don't want to get divorced and break up over something stupid, but it can go there because he's going to go to the death. So it's got to be a little rude, a little sass, chutzpah. I think that's what you're talking about, Loretta. Chutzpah with a nice dose of kindness. And the kindness is an art. The kindness has to be done with chachma. It's like, I had people email me, Rabbi Katz, the name you gave me was horrible. You explained it according to my parents. What does that have to do with me? Well, buckaroo, you're named after your parents. So your parents' mazel comes into your name, right? Therefore, their mazel is in your name. I can't say that, though, in an email. Well, Jim, I'm sorry to hear about that, but I have to let you know that the mazel works in a way that maybe you're not familiar with, that we're named after our parents, and the parents' name. Oh, I get it. Oh, that's good then. That's good, because I like the mazel of my parents' names. See what I'm saying? I had to be. There's no way I can't be rude. The only way I can't be rude is to say, "Hey, it's my fault. Let me just buckle in because you got pressure." No, I'm not going to buckle in. I got to be a bit rude, but over the top chachma governing the kindness. You know what? The guy that I'm talking about, we're still friends today. The social media world is a good guy, friends with the whole family. And I knew he's a bit of a tough character, but this is why there's a bit of chutzpah in the world in a good way. It's how the world works. All right, you guys ready to delve in? We good for the introduction? So the moral of the story is you're going to get slammed, whether it's Klima or Job, one or two. Those are your choices. Scaffolding or Smith, one or two. With me? Now, how do you get out of it? Wake up to the point where the scaffolding is another day in the park. Right? Because you don't want to go back in time in meditation to figure out the scaffolding wasn't what you thought it was. So you got to wake up and confront the situation to where you're basically having a conversation with Morpheus. Smith is a figment of your imagination. Never happened. Now it says some guy sent me a phone and he's asked me to leave the building, and I got to just do it in the most wise way possible. A little bit over the top, right? Let Morpheus know I'm not too pleased, but with kindness. Capiche? One or two. Call that driver's ed, call that your job, call that your marriage, call that Taco Bell, right? You're going to get there. You were there today. Give me a one or two if you were there today. I was certainly there today. Right? And how did you get through it? Did you crack the code? Did you get the algorithm? Did you allow yourself to find the Nokia, Torah enlightenment dropping right in your lap? These analogies work. People complain on Facebook, Rabbi Katz, you're too hard. Your analogies are hard. Why can't you say clearly? Because it's wisdom. If you really internalize the analogies, they work. Now, before I move on, please remind me about this tomorrow. So one of you three, because I really want to bring this in tomorrow. All right. Now, we are holding at the Hebrew to discern. I don't know what the word discern means. I'm going to be calling on Brian here in a minute. All right. Let's see. All right. Ladas chochma u'musar lehavin imrei bina. Lehavin. All right. Let's get our friend the Concordancia out. Let's get our friend the Concordancia. All right. Lehavin. I know the word is bina, understanding, but I don't want to use it in that sense. I want to keep with where Shlomo's going with lehavin. Now, remember, we did comprehension, right? We got into comprehension because the English lent itself to lent itself to know. I think to know. We got into comprehension. So we've already touched it, but remember Bina. Remember, Bina is the definition of knowing wisdom. And that's it, Brian. Remember that? Wisdom is defined as understanding wisdom. If you don't understand wisdom, you are not in wisdom. Meaning, don't come into my house and ask me for a coaster if you don't know what a coaster is. I'm not interested in your polite behavior and your derech eretz. That, don't fake it, man. Because otherwise I'm going to see you got no mohin. You are just some shallow guy, and now there's no respect, no dignity, and now it's fair game. If you're going to come and ask for a coaster, please know what a coaster is. If you're going to come in my kitchen and say, hey, I want to make a sandwich, do you have a knife? Please know what a sharp knife is. This is Ira Michelson 101. He calls people out this way. He'll say, do you have a knife? They'll say, yeah, I got a knife. No, I mean, do you have a knife? All right? Don't tell me about how you know everything about knives, and right? You're not doing me any favors. Now, this is when people call me or on Skype or whatever about Noah Hayden Ger, you can tell who's real. Yeah, he's a chef. Or you can tell who's real. Don't sit and tell me about how you've done this, you've done that. Just speak honest from the heart and say what you know and what you know. And all three of you have done that with me, at least. No pretentious stuff. I've met two of you, and Brian, I'll probably meet you very soon, hopefully in Chicago. Yeah, but we've had enough correspondence. There's no pretentious here. And you see, the whole political stuff going on Facebook is the pretentious stuff. Oh, I know what a Ger Toshav is. Really? Really? Yeah, and there's no Ger Toshav till the Jubilee. Oh, Shkayach. Yeah, Shkayach. I didn't know that. Yeah, Shkayach. So you're just beating yourself up. There's no point. You're just going. You're not even a Job. You're denying Job. It's just. It doesn't do it. Faking. You know what it is? PC, politically correct. You have to be rude. I can't call a rabbi and tell him what I know. You better believe you have to. I need to know what you know. If you're going to call in and try to be PC with me, I'm going to think thoughts. And then it's just then it's a contest. I know more. You know more. My rabbi knows more. Not doing anything. Just be real. Be over the top. Exactly. All right. Now we're looking inside. And I know that's why people are put off by the Ger messages. I give it over. All right. He's a little bit rude, this guy. Well, he's being a realist. It's rude with a little bit of chesed. It has to be. It's just better than a conflict that we don't know about. Sorry to tell you the way it is. All right, so let's see. I'm looking at the Concordancia. So if you guys want to talk amongst yourselves for a second, I got to find our word. So go ahead and have a moment. Let me find what I'm doing here. I'm literally tuning out for a second. So anybody want to take the microphone, say some words, support? It's all, the floor is yours. What's the word? Lehavin. Lehavin. There it is. There it is. So it's coming from the word. That's interesting. That's really interesting. That's really interesting. Look at that. It's coming from the word bane, which they want to say it's different than Bina. Brian, you probably like that, huh? Also you, Lars. So Bina, they want to say means Havana Seichel. Havana, like comprehend, and Seichel is of mind, right? You can't have wisdom unless you are of mind. And so Bina extends through Isaiah, Mishlei, all of our friends. Then there's Bina Chochma, which comes from Daniel. Okay, so now our guy, Bon Navon Bonain, his Bonain, Havin, Bane, he brings Bina, Tvuna. Very interesting. Havchin, which is Bon, to investigate. I didn't even know that Bon was a word. I know it's the Shoresh, but think about that. In Kabbalah, you have Ma and Bon. I bet you this is where Bon comes from. Think about it. Ma is what? Oh, look at that. Guys, look at this. You guys know in Kabbalah, Ma and Bon? One or two? The male aspect is Ma, the Gematria 45. God's name, Yud Kei Vav Kei, is spelled out in 45 Gematria. And then there's no way of spelling it out, which gives you the Gematria 52, which in simple Gematria, Nun and Bet is Bon 52, and Mem and Hey is pronounced Ma 45. So look at the question. The masculine spirit says Ma. What? Bon, the female, says, I don't know. Let me check it out. Bochen. Man Bon. That's the essential archetype male-female energy. He asks and says, what? And she says, I don't know. Let me find out. That's what we're talking about. That's really good. So then there's Navon, the matter within the matter. Bonain, to investigate the matter in the matter. He's Bonain, to really, people watch, contemplate the matter in the matter. Now, Shlomo's saying the Havin is our word. So you're saying that Bina is to know wisdom. You have to really, known wisdom, be in the mind. Lahavin is now that you're not moron man, or you're not moron man. You're in conflict, right? There's a potential conflict. You have to learn how to muscle your brain so that you have the ability to discern, the ability. Lehavin. I'll tell you straight up, in Kabbalah, this is called prophecy. This is what prophecy is. You need to be sharp enough to hear between the lines. You need to know what's going on. You need to make inference and calculation in the surroundings and words. Okay? When I come in and I say, get away from me, and you say, hey, did you sleep last night? I say, no, I haven't slept in a day and a half. Go away. Should you ask me why? Why you should go away? Or should you hear my words, okay, dude is not for me to talk to. It is time to check out and go away. This is not an ego thing. It is a physiological thing with the body. Person awake for a long time is not interested in your investigation of why he's tired. You have to know life and be mature enough to read, you know what, not that important. I'll check back tomorrow. Don't say it out loud. In your heart, walk away. This has nothing to do with ego. Has nothing to do with losing a fight. Has nothing to do with fighting. The guy is insane. He has not slept. And this is 90% of life. Waitress, where's my food? Right? And you see, she's new. The manager's talking to her. Okay? Do you really need now to come in and say, hey, I noticed that you're slow giving me my food. Where's my food? I want to talk to the manager. Right? And be like, look, in your heart, just say, she's new. All right, I got the new girl. What can I do? If anybody wants to give Eric the rundown in the private message of what we've been talking about, she's new. All right, I got the wrong food. It wasn't that good. Generally, I like to eat it at Denny's, you'll say, right? But tonight wasn't my night. 3 a.m. at Denny's tonight wasn't my night. And therefore, she gets a pass. She doesn't have to explain herself to me. It's my job to know my surroundings. Now, you can obviously see that wisdom goes everywhere. Everywhere. Now, to be a master of that is called Navon. Davar betoch davar. To know the matter in the matter. So Lahavin is the art of a Navon. Joseph, there's your guy, Brian. Joseph, this is what he was able to do. This is why he was dominating. This is why he was Mushal man. This is why it's prophetic wisdom. He may not have been a prophet like Moses, like God saying, you write the Torah, but it's prophecy that you're extracting the reality that you're in to basically hear God speak. Right? It's not an articulated vocal cord of God. You are just hearing the wisdom audibly to where it is no question. Okay? Ger is not convert. When you hear Ger speak to you in the Torah, that's Navon. That's Navone. It's your job to know and hear all the different, Amazon River trails. When someone says ger, you don't have to give them a manual. Well, I'm this kind of ger today, and yesterday I was that. I'm thinking about converting, actually. Be a Navone. Okay? Someone says ger, and they're not Jewish, they're not a convert. I mean, seriously. The guy's not wearing a yarmulke. He's not wearing tzitzis. He had nothing to do with Judaism. Why would anybody on the planet assume this is a ger convert? What's wrong with saying, hey, what kind of ger are you? There's Hasidim and there's Sephardim. I want to give access here. The Sephardim are from many lands. Hold on a second. I forgot to bump people up when I got in. It's always a question when you meet a Sephardi guy. You say, hey, which kind of Sephardi are you? Iraqi, Persian, Egyptian? It's interesting. Many kinds of Sephardim are in Israel. Many things to understand and find out. Is it that hard to say, hey, what kind of Sephardi are you? We don't say Sephardi means Mizrach. Mizrach means West. You're a Westerner. You're an Oriental Jew. End of story. No. Many kinds of Sephardim. Or you see a guy in black and white. Chances are he's Hasidic. You say, hey, what kind of Hasidic Jew are you? Oh, I'm a Belzer Chassid. We don't say all the Hasidim are just Hasidim. So there's a thing called ger. Is it a coincidence that ger is called Chasidom Olam? No. Is it that hard to say, hey, what kind of ger are you? I see you're not from around here. What kind of ger are you? How hard is it? We're asking people to take one step of discernment, of Navone. I'll tell you why people don't want to do it a lot of the time. I was shocked, with my English research that I do. I didn't know that the word discern was a big Christian term. Am I right in this? Apparently, I don't know about it from that, but apparently discerning is a Christian thing. What is this discerning thing? I don't even know what it is. What is it? What is the word discern? They think that they are the only ones who... Right. So that's what I'm saying. So the funny thing is I'm finding out more and more every day that Torah Judaism asks people to basically do the same things these people reject. Right? The Christian church said to discern, and Rabbi Katz is saying you have to, sorry to use the words of King Solomon here, but, discern which kind of ger it is. Oh, we already rejected that. We don't do that. It's convert or Noahide. I'm not investigating nothing. Who am I to know more than the rabbis and investigate the wisdom? I don't know about that. Zohar is a false document, they'll say. We heard it was... I mean, come on, man. We got to move on in Torah. Right? No one's going to be going anywhere until we can start being Navone and get that Josephic, whatever it is, wisdom back. Of you have a brain. You can read between the lines. You can infer from people's words. You can understand there's more than one kind of ger toshav, more than one kind of ger. So this is what people have to get back to. Oh, the Jewish side also just as guilty. Ger is convert. Oh, no, actually, it's one type. This is what Solomon's saying. Look at this. Is this not Solomon 101? Hey, my name is Dave. Nice to meet you. What's your name? My name is Brian. Oh, Brian, where do you come from? I'm a ger. Oh, you're a convert, Brian? Okay, we just got trapped. Now we're rolling our sleeves up. Well, it's going to be a nice little fight over here. Now the challenge is going to be, can these moron men wake up and realize that maybe Brian meant something that David Katz wasn't aware of? Maybe. Read between the lines, boys. Play your chess game out. Make up. Be a little rude with some kindness. A little bit of chutzpah. Eric, you know what chutzpah is. We know that. In a good, healthy sense on Facebook. Right? And just let it out. Work it out. Educate a little bit. Oh, you don't know Hebrew? Oh, okay. So once you realize the guy doesn't know Hebrew, now you are in control. Right, Brian, you're going to fight with me, and you realize this guy doesn't know Hebrew. Brian, it's now on you. You have to be the Navone here. You got to pick up ASAP that I don't know any Hebrew. You got to pick that up. Because I'm telling you, right? As soon as I crusade you, I know Ger's convert. You need to know what that means. It means I don't know Hebrew. Right? So shift policy. Read between the lines. It's not a matter of, Ger or teaching. It's just a matter of, dude doesn't know Hebrew. I do. I need to mitigate this guy with some Hasidic chutzpah to basically get the show on the road. That's it. And the quicker you do that, then I have no chance to fight back. And I'm saying that every Ger's got to get better at this. You guys got to be able to pick up where someone knows Hebrew on either side of the fence. Right? Because 95 or more percent of people arguing, especially in today's generation of the digital age, English universal, no one has a clue what anyone's talking about. I just got done reading the Cambridge Encyclopedia of the English language. Nobody knows what anyone's talking about. This isn't a Ger issue. Okay, my mother says, what's a Facebook? Can I have a conversation with that? What's a Facebook? She says, where did you put it? It's on Facebook. What's a Facebook? All right, well, that conversation's finished. Hey, what are you watching? The Patriots. What is that? Some kind of Renaissance World War movie? What is that? Okay, conversation over. You know, I mean, and this is what it's the Ger is just taking it over the head because it's religious. This is in all of our lives. You know? Well, don't you know how to spell the word you? Why would you just put the letter U? What does you mean? Okay, conversation over. You have to be the Navon. Proverbs, muscle man, your moron brain, to wake up, be enlightened, see the light, to know wisdom, right? You got Brian, you got to know you have wisdom. If it comes down to no wisdom, it's like in chess, right? The first guy to bluff, he's out. He doesn't have wisdom. So if you know you won, that means you won. Faith in God, trust, rise up and say, yes, God, I do know wisdom. Thank you for trapping me in an elevator with moron man who thinks Ger is convert. Now I have to discern. Read between the lines. You're in battle, but it's got to be rude, over the top, governed by kindness. This is coming to life good, guys, huh? This is good stuff. You know, it's good. I like that, like Loretta said, the rude with kindness. Because he's going to say, no, you're a goy, or you can convert. All right, he's being rude, but he doesn't know it. No wisdom. So you got to roll your sleeves up and say, look, nah, I know Hebrew, and I think you're not correct. A little bit rude. Give him some kindness mitigation. So Torah is to make everyone. That's the comeback? Right. So I'm saying this is where the Torah stops. Right? This is where it's not written. You got to use your brain. You got to use the wisdom. You got to draw the wisdom of all the Torah you know. Because it's live time. It's real time. It's in the world of Bria. Right? You're bringing the Torah into the real arena. Because this guy's going to bring sources that don't even exist. You know, I heard in Chagiga that all Ger convert. My rabbi taught this yesterday. That never happened. There's no Gemara in Chagiga that says that. But you don't know that. I mean, what are you going to say? You know, stop the exact Morris and say my bell, time out, right? Bring me Chagiga, well, you know, and I'll tell you what, you can be prepared. Do you have the Tanakh on your smartphone? I do, for these situations. Bring up Chagiga. I invest in the Talmud on your phone. That's why I invest in all this stuff. I've got to the point where I refuse to have my guard down. Refuse. Because it's just gonna, more bad energy comes in the world. So the more mitigate, the more rude with kindness you can do. It's a bit rude, is it not? Hey, I know Chagiga, it says you're this, this, and this. Well, let me ask Mr. Smartphone and Rabbi Google. What do you got to say about that? It's rude, but kindness. All they're going to do is laugh and smile and say, man, this guy's serious. He's bringing out Rabbi Google like that. So it's that intense. That's what Shlomo was saying. You gotta take it to that level of intensity. And you gotta rely on your wisdom. And again, if it's not over the top, it's not wisdom. So yes, it is over the top to whip out your smartphone and say, bam, what do you think about that? Right? It is over the top to use etymology of a dictionary to prove your words are ridiculous. Right? And it's not about arrogance and ego and I'm right and you're wrong. It's putting out a fire. It's mitigation. We're not out to prove to the Noahides and the pro convert only that we're right and you're wrong. That's not what it's about. It's not about being right and wrong. Everyone's supposed to win at the end. Everyone's supposed to get along and just be where you gotta be. But remember, the moron man trapping you, right? Agent Smith is crusading you. And it's just God. God has entrapped you. Your job is to wake up and realize and be empowered, as they say in Texas, being mohin to God loot. You got to have all that wisdom that you spent your time studying. And it'll come to you. But don't doubt it. Otherwise, it's going to come through Job. And then I'm going to attack. I'm going to really attack, and it's going to hurt. And when you have enough pain, one day you'll get the message. But then it might be too late. Then you're doing wrestling, David Katz meditations. Where did it all go wrong? That's what I love about the wrestling meditation. It's a great example of being pathetic. I can accept that I wasn't a great wrestler. But I'm thanking God that that's the worst of my problems. That's the worst I have to deal with, thank God, so to speak. So, you have those lumps. That's why your youth is pathetic too. Your mom didn't buy you your Lincoln Logs. Was your mom evil? She didn't buy you Lincoln Logs. Your mom may have issues, but it wasn't because of Lincoln Logs. So your youth is filled. It's like Reuben. And I remember one day he came home crying. I thought the babysitter was being bad. I said, what's the problem? He said, she won't let me use her phone. I said, you're crying over that? She said, no, you can't use her phone. So anyways, that's that. Now we have a couple minutes. And we'll see if anybody even comes in for the 10:20 thing. But, Brian said he'll be right back. We need Brian to get here. Because I want to look up our word, lehavin. I want to use it in the original. Oh, that's nice. Wait a second. Wait, what's the word in Genesis by the snake to know the difference between good and bad? Anybody want to look that up for me? Laura does that too. All right, I'll look it up. All right, anyway, you guys want to look at the Hebrew? Let me get it. Let me see. Because one of the verses we can use is similar to that. I want to see if it is. Hold on. The whole thing is you'll be like God, knowing the difference between good and evil. Let's see here. Yodei Tovara. You'll be like God, Yodei. So Yodei is ladat, to know. So again, what is our word know? Know wisdom. Like really understanding wisdom. So he's saying Yodei Tovara. Wow, this is interesting. Hold on a second. So it's like, you don't go to a martial arts expo unless you're a martial artist. Otherwise, you get beat up. So you'll be like God, Yodei Tovara. Yodei Tovara. You will be like already knowing good and bad. So 1 second. Ki Yodea Elohim, ki v'yom achaltem imenu, v'nifkeku einechem, v'hayitem, you'll be like God, knowing good and bad. The snake was right. The snake was right. You will be like God, knowing good and bad. God certainly knows what is good and bad. If you go against God, you will know good and bad. The problem is, who says you're supposed to know what bad is? God said, don't eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Why would you want to know what bad is? It's like saying, I want to know what it's like to be unemployed. My boss will say, hey, you're an idiot. Go away. Oh, okay. You want to know what it's like to be unemployed? Well, God knows what unemployed is. God created it. God knows the concept of unemployment. But that's the question. If God knows what unemployment is, because God created unemployment, do you want to know what unemployment is? Is that something you want to know? I have a mitzvah to return a stolen good. Is that a mitzvah I want to do? It is not a mitzvah that I want any part of. Right? You don't steal in order to say, but I did a mitzvah. I returned a stolen object. That's not the mitzvah you want to do. In fact, God said, this mitzvah, don't do it. There's a mitzvah called mitzvah that in the terms of the concept, right? There's a mitzvah to eat a tree that gives you knowledge of bad. But that mitzvah, don't do it. Meaning there's a thing you can eat that will educate you about bad. Don't do it. Or, it's like this, at work, right? Now, by the state law, I have to give you a cigarette break once an hour for 15 minutes. And you can take your right. But I urge you, don't do it. Because if you do, then we're all going to get behind. And only because you had to have that break, then we're slammed all day long. And if you do, I'm just not going to like you. And I'm probably going to fire you. And if somebody better comes along that doesn't want to take that break, I will hire them and fire you. I mean, this is life 101, is it not? Now, we'll close with this. That is a different word. That's not our word. I just did a digression there. Our word is going to come from Kings 1:3-9. Kings 1:3-9. Let's see here. Kings 1:3-9. All right. Kings 1:3-9. You guys ready for this? Some go team go. Kings 1:3-9. This is the same word Solomon used, lehavin. Anybody have an English Tanakh handy? If you do, please take the microphone and read it. Kings 1:3-9. Let's hear it, Lars. Eric, someone? All right, I'll do it. What was that? Jacques, you're here. Are you here for the Gear Expo or for class? All right, good.
Can you hear me?
We're gonna stop here in a minute, Jacques, for the Gear Expo. We're just finishing up. Go ahead, Lars. Kings 1:3-9. Go ahead.
1 second. I had to move a little bit.
Yeah.
My mic didn't work. Let's see. Kings 1:3-9.
That's right.
Give therefore the servant an understanding heart to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and evil.
Keep going.
Okay. Just lost it. For who is able to judge this, and thy so great a people?
Okay. You can turn off your microphone. So this is actually, wow, very interesting. This is, I think they're anointing, talking about Solomon over here. Yeah. This is Solomon. This is Solomon really getting into his deal. Very good. So now, to close it off, let's find out what the word lehavin means. Okay? So Solomon, again, v'nasata la'avdecha, you gave to your servant, Lev shomel ishpot. A knowing heart to judge your people. Lahavin, does that word discern, whatever that means, between good to evil. Ki mi yuchal, for who is able to judge your people? Hachabed hazeh, your honorable people like this. Okay, now, Sata Avdecha, read the Aramaic, Shfar Pas Pisgama Kadam Hashem Are Shal Shlomo Yas Pisgama Hadain. Wait, wrong pasuk, sorry. Titin Avdecha Lev Savar. Brian, there's that word sabar. Remember that from our friend Joseph? Right, that's like that word again, like dominating, whatever. So he gave your servant and so now this is pretty good. This is really good. You gave your servant an amazingly awesome, dominating heart. That's who Solomon was. We never look at it that way, but that's who he was. It was his heart was just boom. Man, have you guys ever even heard that before? Who's ever heard this before? I've never heard Solomon judged for his heart of all things. That's what it means. That's amazing. Lemeidan Yat Amach, judge your people. The Mizbar, there's that word again, Mizbar. Ben Tav Levayesh. So the word, Brian, is Savar. Very nice. You gave your servant Lev Sabar. So here's the word Shamoah, to hear, is the same as to Lahavin. Oh, come on. You can't do this to me. Did I nail this or did I nail this? Seriously, that was the triple Lindy from back to school. I told you it was prophecy. Lahavin is Navon, to hear the matter in the matter. And I told you about 10, 15 minutes ago, it is for all intents and purposes prophetic, hearing the audible nature of God's wisdom in the world. That's what it means. The Sata the Articha Lev Shomea, Ishpot es Amcha Lahavin Bein Tov V'Ra. It's not about knowing good and bad, like the snake said. It's knowing Bein Tov V'Ra, like between good and bad. Good and bad shouldn't be your scale of judgment on anything or anyone. You don't walk into my house and again ask for a glass of water and say, is this a good thing or bad thing? It's not a this or a that. It just is. Just is. Your job is to pay attention and listen to details. That's nice, man. All right, let's just finish up with a couple commentaries here. So Shomea is Mavin, which is like, to understand, like full understanding, like we're saying. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Okay, so the Radak he brings the Aramaic. So we're on good ground. And then we have the Malbim. What does he want to say over here? Well, if he's going to say anything, that's pretty nuts. Why would you not say anything? Wait, here we go. Nivdal Shlomo min Hamikdash, Nivdal Shlomo min Mevakesh Chochma V'Yala B'Libo Gam Tovos. This is interesting. Let's just read this. With this, like this gift of Solomon, his heart, Nivdal Shlomo, he was separate. It was apportioned from the request of wisdom. And it went up in his heart. Also, the goodness He didn't ask for wealth or glory. That he was given wisdom because he saw and understood and heard reality. That you're not getting anywhere without wisdom. Yikra be'etzim b'shem v'vagesh oisha kavod ol ha'ki b'hanim nemar v'vagesh shneihim chokma v'oisha v'shlomo l'vagesh rachok m'gavada v'zeh masha tov b'az Hashem. Basically, if you can fathom that wisdom is what you need and it's all you need, then you came to that conclusion because God told you from understanding matters of this world. Meaning when you understand this world and you sit back and you say, this is what it's about, then that concept of this is what it's about, that was your ability to what we're calling discern, or to the penetrating heart. Right? If David was after the heart of God, Solomon was he was a man led by his own heart. That's pretty powerful stuff. And I think, I was working on this idea. I'll close with this. I was working on this yesterday and today. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Look what we're saying now. Shamoa. Shamoa Yisrael. The concept of Israel is the matter in the matter. That's how they found out that Adonai is our Eloheinu, and therefore, by definition, Adonai is Echad. That's all she wrote, folks.